All right, so we are back and we are actually going to go ahead and turn this off right now. We're going to now work with our servo motors. So servo motors are a really important component that we're going to be working with. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more. So we're going to be working with servo motors, so they're going to spin and they're going to turn. So we're going to attach these servo motors here to the pins that we can see that are specific for the servo. So you see it actually says in here servo 4 right here. And actually it switches to pin 12 and 13. So this gives us a digital signal as well for these servo motors. One of the important things when you plug this in is we need to ensure that the white strip is at the top. So we have red, white, and black. So the white needs to be facing up at the top there. If not, it's just going to spin in the different direction. So I'm going to plug this into 13, and I just plug it in like so. So this is going to be my 13. I'm going to keep this on the left. So 13 will be on the left. My 12 will be on the right. And I'm going to plug it in. Same orientation, and that is really, really important. So again, white at the top. So white here, plug it in. And then again, so 12 is going to be on my right-hand side here. I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to actually move this down because it's going to be interesting and important that we go ahead and work with this here. So the first thing that we're going to do here, essentially, is we're going to run these motors, but we're also going to make sure that when we're supposed to not have these rotating, that they are indeed rotating. So we're actually going to make some adjustments. And we're going to screw in, basically, there's a potentiometer in here. And the potentiometer, we're going to want to basically put our screwdriver in, our screwdriver here. And we're going to we're going to put our screwdriver in here, and we're going to adjust this until this does not move. So, but first, we're going to have to set up our code, and we'll go ahead and do that together. See you in that part of the video, and then we'll come back and we'll adjust these servo motors. All right, everyone, we are back. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our code, and we need to first calibrate our servo motors, meaning that we have to basically adjust that potentiometer to make sure that it's not spinning when it shouldn't be spinning. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically send a digital signal to our digital pins. First thing we have to do, though, and we're going to comment this code out. Let me comment it here. So we need to include and define some essential servo motor functions, and then here we're going to also define, we're basically going to define this variable, define variables that fall under the included servo functions, and define variable left motor and right motor. And those are variables that we're going to use. So you see it's a variable within the class. So we've imported essentially the class here. And then we have basically this class servo. And then we've defined our variable. And what we're going to do here, we can see our variable right motor, and we're going to attach. So basically attach it to basically a pin. So we're going to say basically, all right, so attach, so we're going to say attach the right motor to digital pin 12. And the same thing with left motor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write. So we're basically going to send, basically a signal here. And what's interesting here is that we're going to have in here 1500, a value here. Basically, when you write that signal, and you can find this all defined, within our documentation. 1500 means stop. 1300, I believe it's going to be counterclockwise rotation, or clockwise rotation. Let's see here. Let me actually check this real quick. Oops, not that. I'm just looking through some documentation here because I want to make sure that this video has some staying power. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that we're okay on this. So here, there we go. Yeah, so it is indeed clockwise. And then 1700 will be counterclockwise, and those are full speed. So those are essentially our directions here. So what we're going to do first is we are going to run this code, and it's just going to run continuously. And we're going to write this for the right motor, and then we'll switch this to the left motor here. Basically, again, so that we can calibrate our servo motors. And then we'll make them run clockwise, counterclockwise, and all this other fun stuff. So we'll send this, and then we'll see what happens on our board, and we'll calibrate our system. So see you there. Thanks. Bye. All right, we are back. So we've turned our button here to position 2, and that's going to specify the breadboard plus the servo. Actually, we can kind of see. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's see if we can. Basically, the breadboard plus the servo. Excuse me for that. But we put that in the dial 2 position here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run our code to calibrate basically our right motor. So we've run our functions. So now let's go ahead and run our code. And what we're going to do is we're going to upload. And you can see here, actually, we also can simultaneously run our code here. But you see it's moving. So we don't want it to move at all. So we have to, again, basically change or kind of dial it in with the potentiometer. So see, I turned too much. I need to do it as little as possible. Very delicately. Perfect. Now we're not moving. So we're not moving on the right when we should not be moving. So that's perfect. So we've got the right motor dialed in. So now what we need to do is we're going to now run the code for the left motor. So we're going to do the left motor here. I'm just changing the code right now. Changing right to left. Left. And then let's go ahead and upload this. So now the left is moving. So now let's dial this in, the potentiometer. Just very delicately. Perfect. Not moving. So we're good. So we've dialed in the potentiometer. So now let's start to play with some fun control systems. So we'll go ahead and see you in the next video once we get the code up and running. All right, so now that we've calibrated our motors, our servo motors, we need to now basically write our code. So what we can do is we can have, in this particular code, we're going to have both motors run for 3,000 milliseconds clockwise. And then we're going to have them, both motors counterclockwise for 3,000 milliseconds. Then we're going to have them stop for 3,000 milliseconds. And then we're going to have them alternate milliseconds. So basically you'll see here that on the board, right motor, counterclockwise, left, clockwise, etc., etc. And you can change these times, and this will just run and repeat over and over and over again. And let's go ahead and we'll run this, we'll send it, and we'll see what our board looks like. So let's get to it. All right, so we've got our program up and running. We've got our right motor and left motor, and what we're going to do is we're going to run a code that alternates as we described previously. So basically we should be having them rotate in the same direction, basically clockwise or counterclockwise, and then stop, basically rotate the other direction, stop, and then alternate, and so let's go ahead. We're in the 2 directions, so we're good. So let's go ahead and run our code. Oops, 1 second here. We just need to make sure. Run our system. And there we go. Same direction. Other direction here. Pause. And now they'll alternate. And they will repeat. And pause again. So same direction. And then you'll see one's going to rotate in the other direction. Perfect. And there we go. So now next time we're going to go and build our robot. So we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.